Hello students. Now yesterday we have completed the binomial nomenclature system. Okay. So let's continue with the nomenclature. Some part is remaining in the nomenclature. Then I will move ahead with the next topic. Okay. So in the living world you have understood about now binomial nomenclature system. Okay beta. Binomial nomenclature system. Now in this system you have learnt about how the Carlos Linnaeus has given the different principles of binomial nomenclature system. You have already gone through by that. Now in the nomenclature system there is another type of nomenclature system which is also being used in biological world or taxonomical world. It is also called the trinomial nomenclature system. Trinomial nomenclature system. ठीक है बेटा? Trinomial nomenclature system. Now this trinomial nomenclature system, this system was given by Lamarck. The name of the scientist is Lamarck, which is well known in the evolutionary world. So he has proposed the trinomial nomenclature system. Like you have already gone through the binomial nomenclature system, that binomial nomenclature system told us that we should take the name, scientific name, first word of the scientific name, it should come from the genus. Okay, and the second name it should come from the species according to the binomial nomenclature system. Now according to trinomial nomenclature system given by the Lamarck also told that we can give the nomenclature system in 3 words. We can give the nomenclature system in 3 words. Okay, where the first word it comes from the genus, second word it comes from the species, and third word it should come from the subspecies group in animals. If we are giving a scientific name of the species which belongs to the animal, then the third word should come from its subspecies. Okay, but in the same way if we are giving a name to the plant species, then its third word it should come from the category known as variety. Okay, so in animals it's a subspecies and in plants it is called the variety. Okay, so the three words they should come from the 3 different groups: genus, species, subspecies in animal, genus, species and variety in plants. Okay, so if we go by this trinomial nomenclature system, I'll give the example of any species, like example of the scientific name. In the same way like binomial nomenclature, all the principles are the same. So if I were to write the name of the species, scientific name of the species called Corvus splendens. Corvus splendens. Okay, see, Corvus it represents a genus, splendens it represents a species, splendens it is a subspecies. So this is the scientific name of Indian crow. Scientific name of the Indian crow. Okay, so the scientific name of Indian crow depicts Corvus splendens. So it means the splendens is a subspecies of the species known as splendens. Okay, so both the names are same, splendens. That means species and subspecies also. Okay, similarly if I give the example in plants, in plants like Brassica, oleracea, botrytis. Brassica oleracea botrytis. Now this is the genus, this is the species, and this is called the variety. It is the scientific name, trinomial nomenclature, which contains the 3 words. This is the scientific name of the cabbage. Name of the cabbage. Okay. So now you are going to see here genus, species and variety. So this is called the trinomial nomenclature system, where we can give still 3-word name is also existing in the biological world according to the Lamarck. We can give the 3 words of nomenclature as well. Okay. Something you need to remember about the nomenclature system. ठीक है, कुछ चीजें ऐसी है जो आपको nomenclature system में थोड़ा सा आउट ऑफ द एनसीईआरटी भी लिटिल बिट याद रखना पड़ेगा, क्योंकि कभी कभी ये क्वेश्चन नीट में आ जाते हैं इनके ऊपर. जैसे फॉर एग्जांपल ड्यूरिंग द नॉमेनक्लेचर, सम नॉमेनक्लेचर नेम्स दे आर नोन एज टॉटोमेराइजेशन और टॉटोमर्स. Some nomenclatures, some names, they are known as tautomers. Tautomers are the names where these are the nomenclature naming, scientific name of the species where the genus and species name, where the genus and species names are same or similar. ठीक है. सो टॉटोमर नेम जो है उनको बोलते हैं जिनका जेनस और स्पीशीज नेम एक जैसा होता है. ठीक है. एंड दीज नेम्स, रिमेंबर, दीज टॉटोमर्स, दीज नेम्स, दे एग्जिस्ट इन एनिमल्स ओनली. They exist in animals only. This nomenclature, tautomerization, tautomers जो है वो सिर्फ animals में देखे गए. ये नाम जो है animals में दिया जाता है, plants में नहीं दिया जाता है. Say for example, Najas. ठीक है. This is the scientific name of the Indian cobra. ठीक है ना. Najas. If you see Najas, it's a genus. Najas, it's a species. So both the names are same. So when genus and the species name is the same, such names are known as the tautomers. They are known as tautomers. Remember this point. Tautomer nomenclature doesn't exist in plants. It can be only given in the animals. Remember this point. Similarly, if we talk about another term is there, automers. ठीक है. So tautomers and automers. Automer nomenclature is that where the species and subspecies or in animals or in variety in plants or similar. So when the name of the species and its subspecies or variety is the same, then such nomenclature, such names, they are known as automers. They are known as automer. Say for example, Homo sapiens. ठीक है. If you see this nomenclature, this scientific name, this is the scientific name of the human. Scientific name of humans. Now if you see particularly There is a species sapiens. It's a species. Within the species, subspecies also is there a single subspecies, that is also the sapiens. So species and subspecies name is the same. Such names they are known as the automers. They are known as automer. Remember this thing. Okay? So these are some of the things important you need to learn, you need to remember these about the nomenclature system. Okay, so this is all about the things to remember about the nomenclature binomial as well as trinomial nomenclature system. Now let's move ahead with another topic. Now let's discuss about the another topic which is known as taxonomical hierarchy. Taxonomical hierarchy. Okay, beta. So let's talk about what is taxonomical hierarchy. Okay. Now you know that what is the taxonomy. You have already gone through the concept of the taxonomy. When we say hierarchy, taxonomical hierarchy. Hierarchy means it's a systematic arrangement. It is the systematic arrangement. Systematic arrangement of categories. Okay? So most those millions of species, when they have been categorized, when they have been classified, then with that classification, those millions of species which shown a great diversity, they have been divided into these certain broad categories, and those categories have been aligned in the proper sequence. That proper sequence, that proper alignment of those categories is known as the hierarchy, taxonomical hierarchy. Okay. Now if you see in the taxonomical hierarchy, there was a scientist named as Carolus Linnaeus, which is known as father of taxonomy, When Carolus Linnaeus has taken the initiative for the classification, then he tried to classify the whole 1.8 million species into the different groups or different categories. Then according to the Carolus Linnaeus, when the Carolus Linnaeus started the classification, then at that time he has proposed the various categories to us, in which categories he has assigned all the organisms or species into those categories. Okay, and those categories were which he took for the species classification. They were class, order, genus, species, and subspecies or variety. These were the first five categories in which Carolus Linnaeus tried to classify whole organisms into these 5 categories. So he classified them and put them into these categories, broad categories. But that was that time when the Carolus Linnaeus has initiated. Nowadays in the biological world, we have 7 obligate categories. So let me take you through those 7 obligate categories. See, in this hierarchy, taxonomical hierarchy, nowadays we have 7 obligate. There are 7 obligate. They are known as obligate categories because each category is unique. in its own way. So they are oblique because every category, what is category? First we need to understand what is a category. What is the category? ठीक है बेटा, category क्या होता है? Category is a small or it could be a large, small or large group of organisms, who have various similarities, among themselves. So it's some group of organism which, according to the taxonomists, they thought that this group of organism, they have a more number of similarities each other. So they just assign those group of organisms in a particular group, that group given as a name as the category, उसी को हम category बोलते हैं. So it is nothing, category एक small group है, a group of individuals. Those individuals are those organisms जिनमें similarities बहुत ज़्यादा होती है, ठीक है ना, आपस में सिमिलैरिटी ज्यादा होती है. तो इस ग्रुप से क्लासिफिकेशन जो है वो कन्वीनियंट हो गया है कि अगर ग्रुप में there are 1000 species is same type, so if we study a one species, there is no need to study every 1000 species. If we study a one species, then we will get to know what could be the system of all these species, ठीक है ना. So by that classification has become more and more convenient. So that is what category means. It's a particular group of the individual assigned to a given particular name, that is known as category, ठीक है ना. Now there is another term called taxon. There is a term taxon. Now taxonomists जो है, the various taxonomists, they uses this word taxon, which is equivalent to the category. They use the word taxon in place of the category as well, because it is equivalent to the category. But biologically, the taxon is different from the category. In what way? Taxon means it is the actual number of individuals. Assigned in a category. Okay, so now you have seen what is the category. Category is a group, okay, group of individual who have the more similarity. So the actual number of individual, how many actual individual are present in this category, in this group, those individuals are known as exactly taxon. That is known as taxon. So there is a minor difference, but difference is there between the category and the taxon. Remember this. So taxon is actual number of individuals present assigned in a category. Category is a broad where there is a group of the individuals who have the more similarities among themselves. Okay? So remember this point first. What is the category and what is the taxon? Okay. Now moving forward with this. Let's talk about the 7 obligate categories which we have biologically known nowadays. Okay, so 7 obligate categories are: first, largest category, it is called kingdom. ठीक है ना? Like the largest category, where the whole organisms have been divided into the largest category, that is called category kingdom. Like we have kingdom Animalia and we have kingdom Plantae. Okay, so when we talk about kingdom Animalia, so it contains what? It contains all the animal species, So it is the largest group. It's a largest group, largest category, where the more number of the species are present in this category. Okay, so that largest category, it is known as kingdom. So when we say kingdom Animalia, so all the animals coming under in this category. When we say kingdom Plantae, all the plant species is considered in this category. Okay, remember this thing. Now, just lesser than this kingdom, there is another category assigned, which is known as phylum. It is known as phylum or division. Phylum or division. So this category is smaller than the kingdom. Smaller than kingdom. But in animals, we use phylum for this, and in plants, we use the division. Okay? In plants, you call a division, which is equivalent to the phylum in animals, and in animals it's a phylum which is equivalent to the division in plants. Remember this. Now, lesser than phylum, there is a category known as class. Known as class. Okay? Lesser than class, there is the another category known as order. And lesser than the order, there is a category known as family. Lesser than the family, there is a category known as genus. Okay, and lesser than genus, there is a lowest category known as species. Known as species. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7 obligate categories. Remember this point. Now, largest category is kingdom. This is the largest category, where the more number of organisms can be seen with the more diversity. And the lowest category in taxonomy, it is known as species. Species is the lowest category, where a least number of organisms can be found, but more number of similarities. So remember, according to this taxonomical hierarchy, when we move from higher category towards the lower category, higher to lower, from the kingdom towards the species, this is the lowest category which indicates the individuals. एक particular individual के बारे में ये यहाँ पे information देगा, ठीक है ना? Species, particular species like Homo sapiens. Sapiens is our species name, है ना? तो sapiens जब हम बोलेंगे तो it is only indicating the humans and nobody else. Similarly, if I say that another category genus, it is more than the number of species present in species, there will be the more number of species present in genus. And accordingly, if I move on towards the highest category, so more number of species will be added, and the group becomes larger and larger. Kingdom is the largest group which shows more diversity. So if the kingdom is having more diversity, and if we move from kingdom towards the species lowest category, then what will happen? This biodiversity becomes decreased. It becomes decreased, है ना बेटा? सो जितना हम ऊपर से नीचे वाली कैटेगरी में जाएंगे तो यहाँ पे तो मोर नंबर ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स है, सॉरी मोर नंबर ऑफ स्पीशीज है ना? सो देयर विल बी द मोर डाइवर्सिटी इन दिस ग्रुप. सो इफ वी मूव फ्रॉम हाई बायोडाइवर्सिटी रीजन टू लो बायोडाइवर्सिटी रीजन, सो द बायोडाइवर्सिटी go becomes the decreased. Remember this. One point, this change occurs. Second change occurs if we move from highest category towards the lowest category. Then see, there is a more diversity. When there is a more diversity, and numerous number of species are present in this group, then the similarity between the species is less. But when we move from higher to lower towards the species, then when we talk about the particular species, like if I give the name of sapiens, है ना, so then more number of sapien, they are same together, similar together, so more number of similarities get increased. Remember this point. So if we move from high to lower, then two changes occur. Biodiversity becomes decreased and similarities between species becomes increased. It becomes increased. Remember this point. It becomes increased. Why? Because more number of similarity between the individual is present in species category, lowest category. So when we move from higher to lower, it gets increased. In an ascending order, the similarities get more and more added. Okay, so remember this. Similarly, if we move from lowest category to highest category, so if we move from species to the kingdom, then what will happen? These two things will get opposed. Number one, biodiversity. What will happen to the biodiversity? The biodiversity becomes increased now. It will be increased. So biodiversity, more number, more type of species, it gets increased, it gets added on, and more number of species get accumulated in this highest category. So biodiversity becomes increased. Second, similarities. The similarities between the species, it gets decreased. है ना बेटा? So when we move from lower to higher, so similarity becomes decreased. Okay, these are the two major changes which can be seen from the lower to higher category, higher to lower category. Remember this. So according to the taxonomists, we have 7 obligate categories, and those 7 obligate categories have been aligned properly in a proper sequence, that which is the largest category, which is the smallest category. That sequence is known as hierarchy, and this is known as taxonomical hierarchy. Okay beta, remember this point. Now we have to discuss about these one by one categories. What are these categories representing? How to be the assigned to the individuals to these categories. Okay, so let me take you through now the lowest category, that is the species. First category, species. Okay beta, species क्या होती है बेटा? So what is the species? You know that species is the basic unit. Species is the basic unit of taxonomy. It is used. There was a scientist named as John Ray. Okay, John Ray first defined the definition of the species. Okay, then according to the John Ray said the species is the basic unit of the taxonomy. And John Ray said it is the lowest category of taxonomical hierarchy. John Ray also depicted that the species is the lowest category of the taxonomical hierarchy. Remember this point. Then also the John Ray postulated that the species is a group of individuals. Species is the group of individuals having more number of similarities. More number of similarities. This was a simple definition given by the John Ray, okay, according towards the species definition. Now there is another definition which is called biological definition. The biological definition of species. Biological definition of species. This biological definition of the species, this definition was given by Ernest Mayr. Okay, so the Ernest Mayr was the first one who was also known at that time 21st century. He was known as Darwin of 21st century. He was also given an adjective, that is the Darwin of the 21st century. Okay? So Ernest Mayr tried to give the biological definition of the species, which he depicts like this, that species, he told that species is the group of individuals. It is the group of individuals. Number one, that group of individuals having more similarities, among themselves. So according to the Ernest Mayr told that the species is the particular group of the individuals who have more number of similarities in between. Okay, number one. Number two, he said species is the group of the individuals who are having a common gene pool. It means he defined it that species is the group of the individuals who have the same type of the genetic makeup, who has the same type of genome. You can say that. That means more number of their genes are around or surrounding around their own vicinity or around their own community. So they have a similar type of the gene set. Okay, that is called the common gene pool. And third, they said species is the group of the individuals having ability to interbreed, themselves to produce fertile offsprings. Then Ernest Mayr said the species is a particular group of individuals also. Those particular individuals have ability to interbreed themselves. Okay, they can get married each other, and by that interbreeding they can produce fertile offsprings also. That is the another point what the Ernest Mayr has depicted in his definition of the biological definition of species. Okay, there is another point which he mentioned. Okay, the another point of Ernest Mayr, which is actually a valid point, given a validation in its definition of the species, biological definition of species. So the fourth point, he mentioned that species is the group of the individuals. Species is the group of individuals which have ability, to reproduce and which have the ability to reproduce, and they are reproductively they are reproductively isolated, reproductively isolated, ठीक है. Now this point depicts here that a particular group of individual which is known as now species. So he defined the species, that species is a group of individuals, and that group of individual have an ability to reproduce, but they are reproductively isolated. That means the particular individual, that particular species can interbreed or can reproduce of its own kind only, of its own kind. Like humans can give birth to the humans, not with the monkeys and dogs or cats. Cat give birth to the cat like structure, dog give birth to the dog like structure, okay, organism. So that is how they said कि every species, particular species, they have ability to reproduce, but their reproduction, or they are reproductively isolated from other species. So the particular species will give the birth of that particular species only. This is the biological definition of species. Remember this point, okay? But according to this biological definition of the species, there are some exceptions also. There are some exceptions also. According to this biological concept of species, there are some exceptions, beta, like all the living organisms are not able to reproduce. All the living organisms are not able to reproduce. If they are able to reproduce, but still all the organisms which are not able to reproduce, they are sterile. They cannot reproduce. है ना? So there are some examples like mules. Mules. Okay, like hinnies. Hinnies. So these type of organisms are infertile. They are infertile. They cannot reproduce themselves. So they are exception which cannot get exist according to the species definition of the Ernest Mayr. Okay. Similarly, there are the examples of liger, tigon. Okay. So these are the organisms which have been produced by the copulation of two different species, like liger is going to be formed by the fertilization of male lion plus female tigress. Okay, if these two will do the matting each other, by their matting the new hybrid is going to be formed, new hybrid, that is called the liger. And this liger, it is a sterile, it is not fertile, it is infertile. Okay, so same those kind of organisms like liger and tigon, they are also exception to the species concept by the Ernest Mayr. Okay, so remember this point. Now, if we talk about the lowest category of species, now you have understood species is a particular group of individuals, okay, where a particular individual have more similarities present in them. Like suppose there is a sapiens, Homo sapiens, yani insan. So if we talk about insan, we in all the human beings, their body structure on an average, there is a difference in male and female, but still human looks like a human only. Okay, so we are a single species. Elephant, single species. Elephants are similar, look alike. Dog, similar species. Similarly, there are millions of the species in plants and animals who are similar. They shows a more similarity each other. तो उनमें similar features बहुत ज़्यादा होते हैं, and they have been kept in a particular group. That group is known as the particular group, that is species. ठीक है ना? Particular individual ये depict करता है. So when we say species का scientific name है specific epithet. It is known as specific epithet. Okay, so when we say species, then we are clearly mentioning about a particular individual. We are talking about a particular individual, okay, or group of individual. So remember this. So species is the lowest and basic category of the taxonomy, which is actual, depicting the actual individual, okay, whether it is a plant individual, animal individual, any particular individual, that is the species. Now, according to the taxonomical hierarchy, there is the another category, second category, which we called as a genus, or it is known as genera. It is known as genera. So whether you call it as a genus or you call it as the genera, it is the same. Then what is the genus? Genus is the another category now. This is the category. It is a type of category now. And category, you know that category is a particular group of individuals assigned the particular rank. That is called category. So category is equivalent to rank given to the particular group of the individuals. Now, according to the genus, then there is a group of individual. If a group of particular individuals having more similarities together and less dissimilarities. So अगर कोई पर्टिकुलर ग्रुप ऑफ इंडिविजुअल होता है बेटा और उसमें मोर नंबर ऑफ सिमिलरिटीज आपस में उनमें ज्यादा है एज कंपेयर टू डिससिमिलरिटीज, लेस नंबर ऑफ डिससिमिलरिटी, तो उनके लिए एक अलग कैटेगरी बनाई जाती है. तो उन सारे ऑर्गेनिजम्स को all these or individuals or species or individuals, they have been kept or given a common given a good assigned category, है ना. उन सबको एक कॉमन ग्रुप में रखा जाता है और उसी ग्रुप का नाम दिया जाता है. इट्स अ कैटेगरी नेम्ड एज जीनस. इट्स अ कैटेगरी नेम्ड एज जीनस. ठीक है ना. से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मैं आपको कुछ एग्जांपल जीनस की दूंगा, जैसे I write Homo sapiens. ठीक है ना. I write Magnifera indica. Okay, this is the scientific name of human and this is the scientific name of mango. Okay, now if you see, when I say in human sapiens, then it indicates the sapien yani humans only. If there would have been something else with this homo, so that means there would have been some other individuals also present in this group, but according to this there is no. Okay, similarly Mangifera indica, Mangifera is the group which contains the more number of individuals having a more similarity, but when we say indica, it is a particular individual. It is a particular individual we are talking about. So we are talking about indica only. We are talking about the indica brand only. Okay, so it represents a particular species. Similarly, when there are more number of species same, like indica, there are more number of species of the same individuals, more similarities, तो उनके लिए कॉमन ग्रुप जो है असाइन किया गया है, that common group has been given a name Mangifera. Similarly in human, that common group has been given name Homo. Okay, so Homo and Mangifera, they both belongs to the category that is known as a genus. So genus is a category higher than species category. species is the lowest category. So when more number of species have a more similarity between them, they have been kept in another higher group. That higher group represents as the genus. That represents the genus. So you can see, you can understand your Homo sapiens, Homo neanderthals, Homo Stropicus, ठीक है, different types of old type of human beings, they have different nomenclature. तो अगर वो भी यहाँ पे होते तो that means कि सिर्फ हम sapiens की बात नहीं करते हैं, कुछ और individual भी इसमें होते हैं. Now accordingly अगर हम genus category को देखेंगे, what genus जो है, this genus, inside the genus, it is not necessary that genus is always having more number of individual inside it. This genus category, it may have a single species inside. It may have single species inside. So if it is having a single species, then it's called that genus, it is called monotypic genus. Monotypic genus. ठीक है बेटा? So genus could be of two types. Either if the genus inside has a single particular species only, then it's called monotypic genus, like in case of sapiens, Homo sapiens. ठीक है? Homo is a genus and this genus has a single species only inside, that is a sapiens. So it is called monotypic. It is called monotypic. Similarly, a genus can have more than one species also. When the genus has more than one species inside, then it's called the polytypic genus. So remember, genus could be the monotypic or genus could be the polytypic. So that depends upon the number of the species present inside the genus. Remember this. Okay? So that is how we are going to this taxonomy जो है, that gives us the indication and clarification about what is the lowest category, then group of the lowest category of individuals who have more similarities, they have been kept into the different group. That group has been assigned a name, particular name, that is called the genera or genus. Remember this point. ठीक है ना? So genus simply हम कह सकते हैं, what is the genus then? तो genus हम simply कहेंगे, genus is a grouping of similar individuals who have been assigned a particular group. That group is known, category is known as the genus. Fine, that's it. Now another category is known as, genus के बाद एक category आती है which is called the family. It is known as family. Now how the family is going to be formed? So family is simply now, family is a grouping of similar genera or genuses. Yani there are certain genera or certain genuses. Suppose there are certain different genuses. Those genuses inside they have different individuals, है ना, which we have put it into that category. Now some of the genus together are similar. They have more number of similarities. They resemble each other based on certain characteristic features. Say for example, some genera, like there is a genus Solanum. There is a genus Petunia. There is a genus Datura in plants. These are different genuses, but inside the Solanum genus there is a particular individual or particular species which is called Solanum tuberosum. There is another particular species which is called Solanum nigrum. ठीक है ना बेटा? Solanum melongena. ठीक है? Like tuberosum, it is a simply potato. It is the potato. Melongena, it's a brinjal. Solanum nigrum, it's a McCoy. ठीक है, English name. So if you see genus Solanum, इसके अंदर tuberosum, nigrum, melongena ये सारे भी आते हैं, है ना? But if you see potato, macaw, brinjal, दिखने में तीनों अलग दिखते हैं, मॉर्फोलॉजिकल अपीयरेंस जो है वो तीनों में डिफरेंट है, लेकिन इफ यू सी देयर फीचर्स, कैरेक्टरिस्टिक फीचर्स, वो इनमें है इसका, इसका और इसका. सपोज ऑल ऑफ दीज थ्री different types of species, they may have one character or two character which are similar in between them, based on those characters which are similar and which makes them resemble to each other. Based on those character, they have been assigned, given a different category. That category is known as Solanum. That is the genus. ठीक है ना? So if you see Solanum genus, if you see Petunia genus, if you see Datura genus, inside every genus they may have different species. They may have different species inside, है ना? If there is a similarity between any species of this group, any species of this group, any species of this group, based on those similar characters, based on those similar characteristic features, those genuses, these three genuses, they have been clubbed together and being given, assigned a higher rank or higher order of category. That category is known as a family. That family is given a name as Solanaceae. Okay beta? So the family Solanaceae, when we say the family Solanaceae, so remember in the mind the family contains the genus inside. How many genuses it may have? It may have 3 genus, it may have 4, it may have 5, and within the genus there are the individual, there are the species. Those species might be resembled each other based on the 1 or 2 characters. That is how from the lowest category species grouping occurs, then it leads a genus. Grouping of genus leads the another category, that is called the family. Okay, so the family Solanaceae is going to be formed in plants like this. And in the same manner, different families are being formed based on the certain similar characteristic features. Okay, there is a family Solanaceae, there is a family Convolvulaceae, there is a family Fabaceae. Okay, different types of family of plants are there, and all the families have been formed by the grouping of the similar genuses. Remember this. Okay, so now you have understood that how the families are going to be formed from the different genuses. Okay, now there is another category after the family which is called as the order. It is known as order. Okay, how this order is going to be formed? The another category order is simply, now it is the grouping of families. Okay beta, which families? Those families who have the more similarities each other. Okay, so grouping of family will lead the formation of another higher category which is known as the order. Okay, say for example there is a family Solanaceae. Okay, there is a family Fabaceae, there is a family Convolvulaceae, Okay, these are different families. Now you know that in each family, in each family there are the different genuses, and within the genus there are different species. Then maybe the family Solanaceae, Fabaceae, Convolvulaceae, they have some common common features which are resembled in these three. So based on those character, they have been assigned and given a highest category named as the order. That order, suppose the order Sapindales. Order Sapindales. ठीक है बेटा? Okay. Now I'm just giving the example. This is how the different categories are being formed in plants as well as animals. Okay, so in the same manner, when we say that another category which is higher than the order, that is known as class. That is known as class. Another is category class. So what we say then, how the class is being formed? So the class category is formed by grouping of, it's a grouping of similar orders. So different orders who have similarities based on some character will let the formation of the highest category, that is the class. Say for example the order Sapindales, order Anacardiaceae, order Anacordales. ठीक है, different orders. Then similarly there are the different types of orders in plants. Suppose in these two orders they have a similarity inside between the families, between the genuses, between the species. So based on those similar character, those Sapindal and Anacardiales type of the order, they led the formation of a common class. That class, for example, is given known name as the, like a class Anacardiaceae. ठीक है, सो बनता है इसमें क्लास, इस तरीके से बन जाता है. ठीक है ना, डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ क्लासेस. सेम इन केस ऑफ एनिमल्स. If I see in animal groups, for example in animals, there is a order Carnivora, there is a order Primata. ओके, कॉर्निवोरा एंड प्राइमेटा ऑर्डर जो है, इनमें जो ऑर्गेनिजम्स होते हैं, दोज ऑर्गेनिजम्स हैव सिमिलरिटीज, लाइक दे हैव अ कॉमन कैनाइन टीथ्स. Okay, common canine teeth. This is a similar character. Based on such characters, they have been assigned a class. Another higher category. That class is known as a class Mammalia. तो इन सब को मैमल्स के ग्रुप में रखा गया है. ठीक है ना, तो इस तरीके से बनता है डिफरेंट कैटेगरी, ऑर्डर से बन जाती है क्लास. नाउ सिमिलरली क्लास के बाद आता है अनदर कैटेगरी विच इज नोन एज फाइलम और डिवीजन. This is the another category which is higher than the class. So ये कैसे बनेगी? अब this category it will be formed, it is the grouping of different classes having similarities. So different classes जो है जिनके आपस में सिमिलरिटीज है, उन सिमिलरिटीज के बेस पे ये एक अनदर ग्रुप बनाएंगे, दैट इज अ फाइलम और डिवीजन जिसको हम बोलते हैं. सो लाइक फॉर एग्जांपल देयर इज अ क्लास मैमेलिया. ठीक है, देयर इज अ क्लास एव्स, देयर इज अ क्लास एम्फीबियंस, है ना. डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ क्लासेस आर देयर, बट ये सारे क्लासेस में एक चीज कॉमन है, that they have a common, these all have a presence of a notochord. Presence of notochord. So based on that character, they have been grouped into the another highest category than the classes. Then the class, that is the phylum. So that is the phylum Chordata. Phylum Chordata. तो इन सब को रखा गया है किसमें? Phylum Chordata. So phylum Chordata, when we say phylum Chordata, it includes all those classes of organisms which have the presence of the notochord. Okay. So similarly, in the same manner, similarly in plants also. In plants also, different classes, different group of the classes like class Magnoliophyta, sorry, okay, different classes, class Monocotyledone, Cotyledone and Dicotyledone, ठीक है. Different classes जो है monocot, dicot classes, they have similarities in between them in certain characteristic feature. So they have been clubbed into the phylum, into the division. Plants में division बोलते हैं. So that division is known as like Magnoliophyta. Magnoliophyta. These are the seed bearing plants. Okay. So similar manner, in the same manner, there is the now highest category which is called the kingdom. So how the kingdom will be formed then? Then kingdom is simply, it's a grouping of various phylums in animals and various divisions in plants. It's a grouping of various phylums and division in the plant that will make the largest group, that is called the kingdom. So when we say the kingdom, then kingdom contains all, like a kingdom Plantae, kingdom Animalia. So kingdom Plantae and Animalia, when we say Plantae, it contains all the plants, it contains all the five divisions, all the division, group of divisions inside, all division, it led the kingdom plant, all plants. Then Animalia, all the phylums, grouping of all phylum, it led the formation of kingdom Animalia. This is how the 7 obligate categories are being formed based on the certain characteristic features who are resembling in them in the each category. Okay, that is how the classification has become convenient in this way, and all the species of 1.788 million species have been grouped, properly classified in these 7 obligate categories. Okay, that is known as the taxonomical hierarchy. Okay, I hope you have understood this topic till now, and let's discuss about further in the next class if there would be something remaining regarding this topic.